talking about you, not
You
me.
got banker hours.
When do I not work?
Well, the thing of it is, it's been so long since I've seen you here. I haven't been.
You gotta get here
I
early.
haven't been in.
He's gonna get here early, he has bankers hours.
Well,
He's an
I don't know
executive,
any
you know.
bankers that start at 6, do you?
No.
I'll tell you what, I'll call you tomorrow and let you know I'm here.
Okay, awesome. I can't
Just
wait,
send me
I'll
an
be
email.
waiting for your call.
Dr. Boone, how are you?
Don't call me.
Don't call me at 6, he said, I'm up at 4, so you can go ahead and call me at 6, I'm good.
Okay. She won't answer the phone anyway, she'll already be at work.
No, I won't be at work. I just usually get up at 4 for some stupid reason.
We're at 5.
Not because I want to, just because I do.
And her
I
direction.
used to get up at 5 and now it's 4.
I'm usually sitting in my office and playing pool.
You know what, you could call me.
It's 7, so, huh?
Remember
I think that's
the
my.
Winter Bridge, the 8-hour loads?
I know.
Yes.
So you wanna go?
I do.
Thank you. Crack it on.
And Denny said, I used to work with a guy and they called him 8-hour loads.
Low for 8 hours. I can believe it.
You okay, Mr. Boone?
I think I worked with you once.
Hey, he did end up working at Eli Lilly, but it was at Clinton.
Well, that's where I started.
You probably worked with him then.
You know,
Nobody's talking to you. You
Big shot. Is that your tip truck?
Don't you? Why do you have to come in here with that kind of attitude? You go back in your office, close the door, and when you get a better attitude, come back out.
is he?
As a matter of fact, he came to last week.
We can get to him, I promise.
You got yours in 5 minutes.
They are.
This is fine.
I did see.
His wife must be an interpreter here.
Maybe we'll need them until we start.
You got two guys now to operate.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Did you ever use,
Right.
have you laid? I would please get home, just touch base with him, because I assured him that he used the face with him, and he has mentioned that you have not. I think he just brought it up since I assured him that you would be handling it, speaking with him, just as a courtesy, give him a call, follow up.
We don't have to be.
Don't we waiting on AIM to get here?
This isn't a meeting, though, this is just a, no, it is a meeting.
I thought we had them at 5.
We do at 5. She's supposed to be
Where
here.
do they at?
He's not here.
I don't know.
Let's start.
I would delay start till her arrival.
Yeah, I mean, we do have other things to go. You wanna get
Do we want to
information?
knock out the other ones and
Yeah.
put her at the end? That's probably the best.
They gonna be here?
So, when we start the meeting, then we'll motion for that.
Okay, all right. Just flip it.
The only thing is like on the agenda, I think is for the 6 o'clock meeting.
Yeah, it's advertised as a 6 o'clock meeting. I don't think we can flip it.
Oh,
So we're gonna sit here.
okay, so we really just kind of wait.
Yeah.
But we can go forward.
Yeah.
You want to order in this group? I gotta go, guys.
There comes a car now.
Yeah.
I need to stop that thing, so I'm just gonna turn all these microphones off.
Somebody just pulled up. All we have to do is hit that? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And the red light comes on,
You're on. I had a red light.
yeah, you don't want the red light.
I don't want a red light.
Red light means they can hear you.
If it's red, then you got a problem.
All right, so they're all off. Essentially, we got 5:03.
Okay, she's got 2
It's
minutes.
probably, yeah.
She's got 2 minutes. It's
We're with
5:01.
the seconds now.
Hey Rick, when you're ready to drop the gavel, you just tell everyone to turn the mics on.
Okay.
No, that was just misleading.
She said she was.
And the meeting is adjourned.
She'll walk in and say, "Meeting is adjourned."
She got stuck in the Cloverdale traffic.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
I don't think so.
I like traffic after 6 o'clock.
There isn't zero. There's none at 6 in the morning either.
All right.
Really?
Nope,
Long time since I
not at
lived there.
6:30 hardly. It's a little
Very
bit.
nice, peaceful drive out in the morning. Pretty much me, maybe one or two other cars.
So Brand will probably come in for 6 o'clock, won't he?
Brand is out, it's a broken
Oh,
foot.
yeah.
He is out of the hospital, but I don't think
What
he's
happened?
slipped and fell at home. Getting the surgery. Brand.
News guy?
News dude.
Newspaper.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
No, oh, well,
Not Randy.
Thought somebody pulled in.
Maybe they were not lost.
That or they
It's a
were,
It's hard to
drive-by.
tell.
or went to the front. Yeah, it might be the front door.
put the drone in the air and find her.
Her anticipated flight was not correct.
No.
Yeah, because her 503 is right now.
Maybe that was Cloverdale, California.
Yeah.
You didn't see Richard Chandler, is he here?
He's here. Yes, he walked in, I told him to take the call and go home. But he proceeded to.
Okay. Now it says 5:09.
She's 6 minutes late. So she won't mind if we send her dues in 6 months, right?
They go over there.
So you might ask her that. I'm quite sure she'll say no.
AIM, just kind of update you, I don't think this is official. I'm not going to do official meeting, but AIM did send us an email a couple days ago, and Kelly's working on this too. But there's legislation to basically penalize municipalities if we're not spending our food and beverage tax properly. And if we aren't spending it properly, they will take that food and beverage tax away from us permanently, and you can never reapply.
Wow.
So AIM is arguing on that legislation right now. She can probably bring that up. Now, Kelly and I talked about this the other day. We went back through the ordinance when you guys adopted it, or I don't know who was on the council at that time. Were you on there, Larry?
No, I wasn't yet.
We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask all members to push their button on the mics. On?
Push your button on the bottom.
Yeah, turn your mic up. Turn your. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Let's see, roll call.
Larry Fiddler,
Here.
Greg Day,
Here.
Cindy Holland,
Here.
Rick Deerwester.
Here. Okay, right at new business, it is AIM, and we have, I'm sorry, I didn't.
My name is Leslie Mosier. I'm AIM's Chief Administrative and Development Officer. I've been with AIM for over 8 years, or just about 8 years now. So thank you for having me. I appreciate having the chance to come out and talk to you about the AIM municipal dues. Please stop me at any time because I think you're going to be able to tell I talk about our dues so frequently that I tend to just keep going. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Well, but don't mean to interrupt you, we do have this live feed, right?
So if we can go to the
If
podium.
you wouldn't mind going to the speaker up here.
Oh, okay.
And that way they can hear you as well.
Sure.
I appreciate it, thank you so much.
No problem. Bring my notes with me. You might have just made me nervous, no. So, again, my name's Leslie Mosier. I'm with AIM. I'm AIM's Chief Administrative and Development Officer. So I wanted to first say thank you for having me this evening to come out and talk about the AIM membership with you a little bit. So AIM, or as you may recall, I asked, and we made the change to AIM a few years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. Our membership is very strong. Out of 567 cities and towns across the state, we have a membership that holds right about 460 members. That typically includes 120 cities and the remaining are towns. So the town of Cloverdale hasn't been a member since 2018. And I just kind of wanted to go through some of the benefits so that way you can see that you are still receiving some AIM benefits, even though you're not a member. But I also wanted to point out a few things that maybe you didn't realize were benefits of AIM that you do receive. So when I talk about the AIM membership, I talk about it in 2 different parts. I talk about it in the part that you can see. For instance, you receive lots of emails from us. You receive mailings regarding our events. Those are the things that you know what we do. Webinars, our conference. Obviously, right now, the legislative session is a big portion of what we are working on. We have a team of 4 or 5 people who are at the State House day in and day out. You receive the bi-monthly newsletter, the Municipal Dispatch. Maybe some of you don't, but those of you that have been around since the town was a member, we haven't cut you off. We want you to still receive those benefits just because we put information out that we think will be helpful for all cities and towns, and we don't want you not to have that information. So again, the dispatch is every 2 weeks. You also probably through session, or at least some of you, are receiving our weekly, on Friday, legislative summary. That kind of goes through all of the happenings over at the State House for that week. Some of the top bills that we've been covering. Usually there's even a little video with our CEO or COO and our legislative team, just to kind of say, hey, we might be reaching out, asking you for a little help in our efforts. Excuse me. Another thing, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but some of you may still be receiving our municipal network listserv postings. And again, I joke about that because there are lots of information that's shared on there. The second part of the membership that I'd like to talk about that you probably do not realize have to deal with a lot of legal and technical assistance. Obviously, we have a couple attorneys on staff in the office. We are not in any way saying not to use your town attorney. Obviously, we work closely with most cities and town attorneys. We also have the MLA affiliate group that we work closely with. It's just another way to know, oh, we have a question, can we reach out to AIM? What are they saying? It's even a resource for the town attorney to reach out to. So Jody Woods, I'm sure a lot of you know Jody, she's still on staff of council part-time. But Becca McQuaid is our new attorney on staff. She came from the city of LaPorte and most recently the governor's office. So we have the legal and technical assistance, but our legislative activities. I'm going to name a few things that I'm sure are going to ring a bell with you. ARPA, NEUs, community crossings. You're probably now listening to, it's the legislative session, so I'm sure you've heard TIF, tax increment finance, business personal property tax, and just to go through it, AIM was instrumental with the community crossings. It was our idea that was floated back in 2016. And I'm excited. I know the town has received community crossings money, but just wanted to let you know, those are benefits, and I'm going to go through a couple more. Those are benefits, whether you're a member or not, we're still out there fighting for cities and towns across the state. You are receiving those benefits from our efforts. Business personal property tax. Cities and towns across the state are going to be affected if there is no replacement. Some of you may recall our Replace Don't Erase effort a few years ago. We have reignited that coalition, that effort. So we are over in the State House trying to come up with something that will help cities and towns where they don't just eliminate everything. TIF, for instance. There are at least 3 TIF Senate bills, one of them being Senate Bill 361, which is IEDC, and talking about TIF districts. AIM was actually in the governor's office today with IEDC's Brad Chambers and Senator Mishler. AIM was the only association or lobbyist that wasn't invited into that meeting to talk about TIF districts. So again, the whole point is I just want you to know there are many, many efforts that we are fighting every day on, whether you're a member or not, that we will continue to fight, but we want you to see that you are receiving benefits and hope that you agree that they have been helpful to you and want to join to become an AIM member. I know the dues amount is roughly $1,800. Just to give you a little history on how that has come about, way back in the day, pre-me, and I actually think pre our CEO, Matt Greller, dues were based upon our population and assessed value. That's where, the dues amount just kind of followed that. Oh, it's an assessed value population amount. Well, then the numbers started getting a little crazy. So our board at that time froze dues where they were right then and said, okay, this is the new baseline. Going forward, this is your baseline, but there's an annual 3% increase every year. So when you get that invoice, that is how that has come about. Obviously, we are more interested in having a strong membership, and having more cities and towns as members is more important to us because we want to represent you. We want to be out there fighting for you. We want you to see the value in us. So while I can't sit here and say, oh, no dues, I obviously am always willing to talk to see if there's anything we can do for the town to be able to, get you back as a member so you can see those benefits and hopefully reach out to us regarding food and beverage tax. That's what we're there for. And then you'll want to continue to join. So we also have the endorsed programs. For instance, we have our own health insurance pool. I don't know if the town provides insurance to any of its employees, but it is a health insurance pool program that we have helped probably, and I brought a couple pieces of paper that you might want. One is regarding the Med Trust, but we have helped probably 60 municipalities sustain and be able to hold their health insurance at a more reasonable rate. And it's not just health insurance, it's dental, vision, it's life, it's short-term, long-term disability. That is one of our endorsed programs. We also have, we have like 8 endorsed programs, but another one is called the P-Card program. So what the P-Card is, and I like using this one, and you'll understand why. I use the P-Card for AIM. I am in charge of, our office supplies. I am involved in a lot of our HR matters, so, health insurance, life insurance, so I look at all of that. But this P-Card program, it's just like an expense report for me. I use the P-Card, I have my receipts, I combine it all together, I submit it for approval. At the end of the year, we earn money back. So you don't pay for it. It's a card that you have that you can use. You get money back, so it's a rebate that you can take. So if you have that rebate, you can take that money, and that might help offset your dues. So it's kind of like a win-win, if you want to look at it that way. There's the drug card program. There's Breach Alert. Obviously, everybody always has a need to reach out to whether it's your residents, your town officials, employees, but it's a program, costs you nothing to set up. And it's just, they're in your system, your computer system, send out a message, it gets blasted out. Yeah, it's kind of like a text message, but sometimes your text messages are limited to who has an iPhone, who has Android, so it's a system that pushes through. So again, there are lots of benefits, and obviously I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just wanted to point those few things out. See if you had any questions, see if you have any concerns or anything that I could take back to obviously our staff and our board to let them know what it is that the town of Cloverdale is looking at.
On the due, it's one payment, it's not every 6 months, or
Yeah.
it's just one.
It's just one payment.
Yeah.
Obviously, if that was something that we needed to work on or help with, we could figure something out.
I mean, it is an annual membership, so it's January 1 through December 31.
Yeah.
And as I've explained, we don't do very well at stopping benefits, so it usually extends over for a few months. So while it's, even if you join in February, you're gonna get a full year's worth of benefits, because it's not going to probably be termed as being a non-paid dues amount until June. I don't say that to many people or to many towns, just because I want you to know we're there. We're there for a reason, and it's not just to be these, strong-armed folks trying to say, oh, we wanted your money. That's not it.
Could you talk about the education that you provide?
Absolutely. So another portion of my job, my previous title was the events director. So Jennifer Simmons and I, she's our COO, we work closely on our education program and the events that we provide. We obviously, tomorrow, we have a workshop, hot topic workshop. It's the social media workshop. It's a virtual workshop. So throughout the year, we put on probably 100 AIM events. Those include webinars, hot topic workshops. We have the budget workshops, clerk treasurer school. We also, starting in 2021, we have a town council workshop that we put on virtually, town managers, a virtual workshop. So we tried, of course, our big conference, which is in the fall. This year, it's the beginning of November in French Lick. So we try to cover topics that benefit all positions within a city or town, as well as all educational needs. So we listen to our corporate members who also provide us educational ideas. We listen to our municipal members. We try to take those topics and say, we're hearing a lot about this, maybe it needs to be a workshop. We put out a request for proposal, request for proposals for workshops for our summit. Our summit usually has 30 different workshops. And honestly, we like to include, not only are there our corporate members usually presenting, obviously we include state agencies as well, but we also like to include municipal members. We like the real life examples and scenarios. So we try to pull that in. Lots of CLE opportunities are available through our educational programs. And as you know, being a member, it allows you to have that member rate. Doesn't mean you can't come to our events with not being a member. It's just a higher rate. And then when you start looking at the rates for the events, people are like, I joined, I've paid my membership dues, but now I just get a reduced rate. Well, when we price our events, if they're in person, those cover the cost of the event. I mean, that's not a huge money-making portion for us when it comes to registration fees. So please keep that in mind. That covers like the AV cost and the food and beverage. But one thing we learned through COVID, for instance, is that we have been able to reach a lot more of our cities and towns that maybe do not have the budget to travel, or the budget to travel, pay hotel and registration fees. So we've started adding more virtual events. We will always have in-person events too, because there is a need for that. But we also have the virtual events because we want to provide that education. And so we do, I mean, if I go back to dues for a second, just to give you an idea, our tiny, tiny towns, the floor is $500. The largest of the cities, or the top of the chart, is the $75,000 to $100,000. So that gives you a range as to where the membership dues kind of fall, correct? And so the tiny, tiny towns, when they're possibly paying $500, their budget might be $700, so they're not going to be able to travel or to do this. So we have adapted, obviously, because everything used to be in person, but the need for more virtual opportunities are there.
Yeah, and I think on the education part, I brought that up, Richard, I think the big thing is networking, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, we got a town manager that knows everything. They might learn from him, but for council members, I'd like to learn more, right?
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you, so we also have, as you may know, different affiliate groups that AIM assists. But I'm going to kind of not talk about them for a second. I'm going to talk to council members for a second. there's not really an affiliate group for council members. It's a little harder because this is not your necessarily your daytime job. It's harder for you to get away. Obviously, if you're coming to a daytime event, it's going to be because you took PTO from your other job. So one thing that we have implemented, again, for councils, we have a listserv that's just for you. And honestly, it doesn't get utilized that often. And I don't know if it's just because people aren't asking the right questions or people don't want to, but I'm looking for council members that will actually join this listserv and start putting stuff out there so the feedback starts, because you're right. We always say that we advocate, we educate, and we congregate. Part of, we are learning in the legislative session right now what's going to happen. We're going to educate on those trainings. That's all great, but we still need to bring people together, because I was at a meeting once where, I think it was a mayor of a smaller city, was talking about recycling and how he got a grant for recycling. And the next thing I know, somebody was like, how did you get that grant? I don't know how he got that grant. So it was nice to hear someone else ask him. And so then that started, spinning the wheels for someone else to say, let's see how we can do it. That's what a lot of it is. And we do at conference, the town managers have their own affiliate group. They usually have a meeting at conference. EMLA, the attorneys, they have an affiliate group, but because they like CLE, their affiliate group meeting usually turns into a workshop so they can get credit for CLE. I mean, if I'm being honest, you can thank Jody for that one. I mean, she's all about the CLE. So, council members, we have a meeting during conference for council members, and again, we are looking for council members that will come and start talking more. It's a hard group, honestly. It is a very hard group to get the networking going. And again, I think it's just because it's not your daytime job, you're busy, you're not able to attend necessarily. But, we've also in the past tried, workshops on the weekend, because that's when council members and some others can get away from the office. Numbers are, hit or miss. It just depends. Do you want to take a Saturday to be away from your family when you've worked all week? So that's where, with some of our educational offerings, we've now started to record them. Because we've also learned that, people still want the education. You maybe can't attend during the day. And you don't want to sit in front of your computer from 5 to 9 at night. So let's do a recording and you can do it at your leisure.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So then you can add to that, you'd email it to someone or in AIM or?
Yep. So say for instance, tomorrow's hot topic workshop. It's a full day workshop. Those usually run $100. Recording will not cost $100 because you are not participating, and you register for a recording. When that recording is ready, we will blast it back out to your email that you have on file with us with the code to be able to watch it. There you go.
And any feedback or whatever, you just send back?
The feedback for...
Like if I listen to it and then I have some feedback for
Yeah,
that.
we will be able to give you the contact information for the speakers if you would like to reach out to them directly. Or two, if it's overall regarding the topic or the workshop in general, you're going to email me or the COO because it's an event. And then obviously we will take that. We have an internal education committee that we vet all of our topics with. So if there's ever like, oh, well, listen to that, that made me think of this, please email us.
When we talked about this at the last meeting, whether or not to invite you, one of the comments I made was, you kind of owe it to your fellow council members to get educated.
Yeah.
That way, when you're sitting here making decisions, you can feel confident that the people sitting next to you have
The same.
have some information about
Sure.
it. And I also mentioned, I go to a conference every year for another type of law, and there's nothing better than walking out of a session, hearing that you're doing everything right.
Yeah.
Or there is times where you're like, ooh, I better get back and underwrite this.
Mhm.
But you find out, it helps you in that you're doing things right, it also helps you if you're missing something. And, you know, sometimes just those times in between sessions, we're talking to a fellow council member, you know, how do you do it? You know, sometimes,
Yeah.
I mean, you can always ask questions, and people say there's no stupid question, but there are stupid questions. And people are scared of being that person that asks that question. And those conferences give you a chance to ask those questions without, and I think that's why you don't get a lot of questions on the listserv, because people are scared, because it goes to everybody.
It does, it does. If you're on that listserv, it does go to everyone.
Because I see, on the attorney one, I see it, I think, I can't believe you're asking that question. I mean, you actually type that out and hit send, knowing that it goes to all these other attorneys.
And I'm gonna go a little step further if you don't mind. So if you're at a conference of ours or an event, it doesn't have to be the big summit. It can be a workshop, it can be a webinar. And if there is somebody that you want to reach out directly to, you always can reach back to us and say, there was a council member from this town or from that city that I'd like to connect with. I'll give you a registration list with their telephone number, their mailing address, and their email address. You'll know what municipality they're from and what their, if they've given me their middle initial, it'll be included as well. So, I mean, we have that information that we want to share because that is what we're about, is trying to make sure, you know, it's the state of Indiana. Do you want people to stay in the state of Indiana or do you want them to move away? We're here because we love the state of Indiana. We want our cities and towns to be the best they can be, right? So we want to attract those people. We want to make the towns better, the cities better. And the way that you do that is by being educated and by networking and staying, you know, yes, there are some things that it's harder for a smaller town to be able to do, but it doesn't hurt to try. It doesn't hurt to know what those resources are. You know, and obviously, we hear all the time of the different grants that are coming out of Okra or, you know, any of the other state agencies. We have that information. If we don't have it, we can surely get it for you.
And you're still doing the regional meetings where it's just, no, that was at least pre-COVID, where they'd come in our area and it'd be just people in our area would be
Yes.
invited.
So
Yeah,
those
yeah,
are
roundtables.
the AIM round, we're getting ready to start that up. So those are the AIM roundtables for
Those are just
towns and small
evenings and
cities. We
not
go to
long.
restaurants
Yeah.
where people like the fried chicken and the mashed potatoes or whatever. We try to hit those fun places because people do like to come. And we will have maybe a 10, 15-minute little presentation for you because of a topic. Like, I think the first part of this round, so we're gonna hit 8 locations from April through September. We're gonna try it a little different this year. Instead of trying to do 2 rounds of hitting 6 in 2 weeks, we're gonna try to do 8 locations from April to September. The first 3, 4 locations are gonna be ARPA related, because that's gonna be right around the reporting requirement deadlines that we want to make sure that our cities and towns are prepared for. But those are geared toward, honestly, the towns, the small cities, council members, because they're the most that come out for that. And it's to have a nice dinner, to be able to talk, have a little bit of education provided, and to enjoy the evening. I'm actually trying to plan out the locations now, so more information to come on that. So we have been talking about, oh gosh, arts commissions and, you know, ARPA, and I think we're gonna start with ARPA and the reporting requirements. But you're right, those are fun. Those are one of my favorite events that we put on, just because that's when I do get to see more people that we typically don't get to see at the other events.
Quick and casual
Mhm.
and close.
Yep. Yep.
That's a free meal.
It is a free meal. And you, like I said, we try to hit the restaurants that are a draw for people.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the medical trust?
You know, so I can tell you that it has been around for a few years now. Like I said, we have about 60 municipal members. I am not part of the medical trust. I mean, it is a program of ours. Jared Limbach, he's our client services director at AIM. And like I said, I do have some information that he had given me. I like to take that with me. But again, it has been very successful in helping to provide stability for the insurance for larger cities, smaller towns. I think one of our smallest members maybe has 2 employees that they insure. So it's, what they will do is, they will take your information, obviously they will have a quote generated to see if they're competitive for you. And I'm happy, if you're okay with it, I'm happy to have Jared send you an email to at least introduce himself, and I'll leave some information with you. Some of the information that I have is basically, I have, I think, 7, 8 copies with me, some information on the trust. Obviously, the municipal handout that would have been emailed with my initial email asking for the meeting, and of course, my business card. So if there are any additional questions, you can reach out to me directly.
We can see a savings just right there in the health insurance, the first year.
And that is one thing I will say about the trust. To be able to be in any medical trust, you do have to be a member.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. But we have had a few say, oh, well, if we join, then we join the trust, then we don't have to be a name member. You do have to be a name member.
Is there a discount on dues if we are in the medical trust?
There is not. There is not. That has come up before. I'm not saying there won't ever be in the future, but it has not been vetted at all, if I'm being 100% honest.
You had mentioned the REACH alert.
Yes.
Is that that's an AIM product? I didn't realize. I'm familiar with that.
You're-
REACH
well-
alert, but I didn't realize that was something that was sponsored or.
Yes, so it's one of our endorsed programs. So let me explain our endorsed programs a little bit. So as you know, AIM is not only made up of our municipal membership, but we have a corporate membership as well, and I work with both closely. When we find a product that we think is very beneficial to a city or town, if they reach out to us and we see the need, they ask to become an endorsed program, which means that we are saying we think that this is a service that is significant. So the REACH Alert is one of our endorsed programs.
I'm not sure the council, Kelly and I have spoken about this, and we know there's a need for it here.
I do not know. Yeah.
You don't have any?
No. And just last week was a perfect example, when we had 3 digs last week where we had to do a boil order. The REACH Alert is, we can start collecting numbers, cell phone numbers, home phone numbers, and all we do is type it in the program, push send.
And it goes on.
There's no
Okay.
more
Okay.
calling
Yeah.
the Vandergraphic or a
Right.
radio
Right.
station
Okay.
or putting it on the sign outside.
Yeah.
And it just automatically brings to anybody that's affected. And it can be specific to a certain area, so you're not
Right.
telling everybody in town.
Yeah.
But you can include all kinds of things, if there's.
Not everybody reads the paper, but everybody's walking around with their phone.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a program that Kelly and I, we've actually spoken about, we just haven't put it on the agenda yet, but it is something we think we really need, and I didn't realize that was
It is one of our
something
endorsed programs. Another thing, just to go along with along social media, you said you're streaming live. Another thing we have is kind of our social media image bank. So I think it was the mayor of Tell City had come up and said I never know what I can put out on our Facebook page that's not gonna get us in trouble. So AIM went, and what I mean by that is they don't want to take an image from something that he found on the internet and put it on his webpage or on his Facebook page, and then someone come and say you didn't have, approval to use that. So AIM has created different images. It's our social media image bank that you can take, and it read, like stop sign or something like, don't come to the office today, or like you said, a water main break, it's a pipe that's bursting or something that you can put on there to help catch, hopefully, their attention as well. So you can do that along with the REACH Alert. That way you're hitting not only, the blast, but you're also, if they're on their social media, on our Facebook page, if you have one for the town.
People very rarely know that Facebook law works, that might be a problem.
Sorry, I think I was the first to laugh out loud.
Well, definitely good information.
And I would also direct you to go to our website if you haven't been there for a while. We do have a page right now on the business personal property tax that has information regarding talking points if you need them, sample ordinances if you guys are looking to pass anything along those lines. Obviously, we have along the side There's an events tab that will give you ideas of all of the events that we do have. You can also look into the affiliate groups and what they have going on. The membership, the municipal directory is on there as well. It has been, like I said, since 2018, since the town has been a member. If you do not return that roster form that we manually send out like every 4 years with the big election, there may be some information that is on our municipal directory that is not current or accurate. So that used to be a book that we would print and send out and give to our members, but you know, it's like a car, it depreciates right when it's printed, right? So for instance, if for some reason someone was to leave and you gave us a new name, it would be updated immediately. Population, cities, towns, if you're looking for someone else in a city or town, you should be able to find them on there. But please take a look. Even if you decide not to join, we still want accurate information, so please submit the information to us so we can get them updated in our records as well. I mean, I really don't like to send, you know, information regarding to events to someone that passed away 5 years ago. So, I would appreciate that. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and I will have Jared reach out to you. Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time, and please,
Thank you.
if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you. I appreciate the positive feedback, so. Go ahead. Can I get-
All right. That was all for this meeting. Do we want to vote now or discuss anything or?
Yeah. Public meeting.
Do what?
It's a public meeting.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. So any more thoughts, discussion on whether to become
So we need a
them?
motion to join, is that?
Join
I'll make a motion to go ahead and renew our AIM membership.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Now, the annual due is gonna be 6 minutes late getting here.
Just don't blame the people that were in an accident in front of you.
We know how Cloverdale traffic.
That's
Oh my
right.
goodness. So, no, it was fun. I'm like, I was gonna be there in plenty of time because I don't like being late. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the audience? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.